We'll call this regular meeting of the Coryell County Commissioners Court to order at this time. If you would, stand with me in a word of prayer. Let's pray. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings that you continue to bestow upon us, the cool weather, the brief rains, the fertile lands that you've given us. We thank you for your guidance. We ask for your patience, your wisdom, as we do the business of the citizens of Coryell County today. In Christ's holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
And join me in the pledge to the flags.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Again, I welcome everybody this morning. It's good to see so many smiling faces here. If you haven't already done so, if you've got an electronic device, we'd ask that you place that on silence at this time. The first item on our agenda is going to be a public hearing as part of our budget approval process. It is a hearing to consider the comments from the public on the proposed FY 2020 budget. This budget will raise more revenue from property taxes than last year's budget by an amount of $754,102, which is a 5.45% increase from last year's budget. The property tax revenue to be raised from new property added to the tax roll this year is $366,547. At this time, would anyone like to address the court with their comments towards the proposed FY 2020 budget? Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'd just like the Commissioners Court to consider changing the way they fund the Economic Development Board. I would like to see Commissioner Moore's suggestion come about to where if they need something, they should come and put it on the agenda, just like everybody else has to, and then it will be considered by the court. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm going to provide a little insight on two different things, if y'all don't mind this morning. It's all on the agenda. Number one, I'm Jack Barcroft. I have the pleasure of serving as the chairman for the Republican Party of Coryell County. I want to put our 2 cents in about the electronic voting equipment coming up. We've had a really good experience over the last several elections with the equipment we had. Obviously, it's legacy. It's got to be replaced. It's at the end of its life cycle, and we've not had a single issue with the fact that our machines don't spit out a piece of paper that turns around and gets me digital again. So it's my recommendation that we stick with the paperless equipment. There's less moving parts to break down over the years. There's no disruption to the experience that the voters have had up until now. They don't have to relearn how to do anything, nor does that mean there's any additional training to the poll workers, because we're just keeping with the status quo that we've had, and it's worked. Even with the paper component, at the end of the day, the voters still walk out of the polling place with the exact same thing that they walk out without the paper. Nothing but a piece of paper and a code on it, okay? And that piece of paper with that code on it has everything on it that they need for an internal audit of their own ballot in the future, okay? So we highly recommend that we stick with the paperless ballots, less pieces to break, less money in the long run, and less disruption to the voters' experience. Hold on, let me take that hat off, put this hat on. As a volunteer, an unpaid volunteer that has spent a few years on the Coryell County Economic Development Board, I'm glad to come up here and talk about allocation of a quarter of the budget that we asked for this year. We know we've all got a problem in Coryell County, and the only way we're going to solve it, besides living within our means and raising taxes, is to bring more revenue into the county. So there's 8 volunteers that have put their blood, sweat, and tears over the years trying to solve that problem. You know, we've had the opportunity to participate, bringing SpaceX expansion into Coryell County. I stood out there for years with a water hose, just kind of spraying on it, hoping it would grow this way, and luckily it's finally doing it. Matter of fact, I don't know if y'all seen, but they broke ground on an 11-bathroom house in Coryell County. Looks like a mansion in Walt Disney World, but apparently it's a private residence to a SpaceX employee, and I know several of their SpaceX employees that have built in Coryell County over the last 2 years. That's just one. I mean, obviously we all know that the Coryell County Economic Development Board revamped our legacy website, brought it into the 21st century, and that continues to evolve as well. I hope everybody goes and visits the site, because we've just published our latest advertising video for Coryell County that focuses on the fact that we have access to all the infrastructure required for organizations to bring their businesses and their jobs to Coryell County. That latest video is going to be used on strategic websites throughout the state to advertise, bring your business to Coryell County. There's plenty of other things we've done. Some of it locked under a non-disclosure agreement, but we enjoy just trying to leave Coryell County better than we found it. We don't ask for anything. We've never spent our entire budget. Matter of fact, we've hardly ever spent over 10%. And when we did, it was to fund the railhead study, you know, or get a strategic economic development plan for the county, which we got that. We're updating it now and we're executing on it. That's part of the advertising that we're doing. And we appreciate the knowledge of this board knowing that it's best to have funds allocated in advance, earmarked for an economic development board, because there are certain opportunities that will pop up, that have popped up in the past, that only an economic development board was able to participate in. So not having it is gonna do us a disservice. Having it is great. We've got funds that are gonna be allocated, you know, whether it's in a rainy day fund or it's a little bit underneath our name. You gotta have it in case we get that opportunity to bring those jobs in. The biggest thing that we're working on has finally been made public, that we've been negotiating with the Nigerian government to build a law force training facility in Coryell County. That I'm working with the governor on, and it's worth $10 billion to the state of Texas. And I'm trying to get as much of that in Coryell County as humanly possible. But I'd say thank you for your open-mindedness. Allow us the chance to continue to seek out opportunities and raise the revenue for Coryell County in the name of the Economic Development Board.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'd just like to remind the court that we've given them thousands and thousands of dollars. And if Mr. Barcroft wouldn't mind, would you mind giving the court and all of us in Coryell County an itemized listing of where the money has gone? And could we have that as soon as possible, sir? Thank you.
I don't have a problem with that. We can publish that on the county's website and get that out there.
Thank you.
Okay.
And of course, anything we've not spent, which is the majority of our allocated funds, have gone back to the county.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Anyone else? Well, do you mind?
I can.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Mrs. Celeste Drake. I'm a private citizen, and I, for one, am in favor for a paper trail. Should there be a question, there is no backup. With paper trail, we can go and count. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hello, name is William Abel, live in Copper's Cove. Just wanted to stress again, I know I've come up here and talked about the jail before. Just want to have you guys think about it in the long term. If we would have built the jail back in 2012 when the bond was originally voted on and passed, we could have saved a lot of money on building it. If we decide to build it now, if we can get it built and put it in there, we can bring more revenue into the county. We might have to spend more money than what we originally planned on when it was first passed in 2012. The longer we wait, the more money we're gonna waste building it, because it's gonna get built eventually. Whether it's you guys voting for it and taking the ball with it, or if it's another, commissioner court, different commissioners, judge, whatever. Once we get the jail built, we're gonna be spending a lot less money in gas, going ahead and driving all over these other counties. We're gonna spend less money, paying to these other counties to house our prisoners. Then we're gonna have the money that we can go ahead and give some of these county employees raises. You say we don't have the money, but yet we're spending all this money in other counties right now. Not only that, once we get the jail built, we can go ahead and house prisoners from other counties as well, which will bring money into the county. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, I think we have about $4 million in our rainy day fund. I think it's time we dip into that, get construction of the jail started, so we can start bringing some of that revenue back into this county. So, just something I want you all to think about. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Any comments from the commissioners?
No, sir.
Okay, that will conclude the public hearing. The next item on our agenda, starting the regular meeting, is our citizens forum. Citizens may address the court on any matter other than matters concerning county personnel or matters under litigation. Each citizen will be allocated 5 minutes with a total time not to exceed 30 minutes. Is there anyone here this morning that would like to address the court? Yes, ma'am.
Good morning again.
Morning.
Judge Miller, I had a former council person get a hold of me, and they can change logos in their county for $500. So you might wanna think about that. Also, in this letter that you gave me, everyone's laughing at it but me. I knew that to keep from answering my question, you would keep stalling and evading no matter how many replies I send you. You just don't want to admit that you went through Sheriff Williams' entire budget and put in and took out what you wanted. We all see that very clearly now. Again, shame on you. Now, as far as you saying, last open meeting, that you do not know where I live and had no way to contact me, that's a lie. I watched you from my living room window, personally put up on the left-hand side of my driveway, your campaign sign. I gave you my private unlisted number in a one-on-one meeting, and I have your cell phone to this day. There are sensors in our yard to tell us when somebody drives up in our yard. So I think there's an old saying that in order to be a good liar, you have to have a good memory.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the court this morning? Okay, seeing none, we will get into the business portion of the meeting. The first item, the next item on the agenda, item number 6, is our consent agenda, and that's the acceptance of the submission of the August 2019 financial summary report by the County Treasurer's Office, as well as the minutes from the Coryell County Historical Commission meeting held on August 13th, 2019. We have a motion from Commissioner Matthews, a second from Commissioner Moore. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Item number 7 is the Commissioners Court meeting minutes from August 19th, 2019.
Motion approved, Judge. Second.
We've got a motion from Commissioner Jones, a second from Commissioner Matthews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Minutes from Commissioners Court meeting on September 4th, 2019.
Motion approved. Second.
Motion from Commissioner Jones, a second from Commissioner Matthews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The next item is Commissioners Court meeting minutes from September 9th, 2019.
So moved. Second.
Motion from Commissioner Ashby, second from Commissioner Matthews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Commissioners Court meeting minutes from September 12th, 2019.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion from Commissioner Moore, second from Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, motion carries. And finally, Commissioner Court meeting minutes from September 19th, 2019.
So moved. Second.
Motion from Commissioner Jones, second from Commissioner Matthews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. Ayes have the motion carries. Which brings us to item number 12, the vote on the budget for fiscal year 2020. The last revision is dated 9/17. So a motion to approve or disapprove should be based off of the revisions of the proposed budget through 9/17.
Motion to approve the budget for 2020, Judge. Second.
We need to flip a coin on the second. Motion from Commissioner Jones to approve the FY 2020 budget with revisions through 9/17, and a second from Commissioner Matthews.
I'm looking at it, Judge, in discussion on professional services bill. I'm looking at the electronics, so it's kind of hard to move through.
Okay, Joe.
Well, it's not on page, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got it.
Non-departmental with page 3. Is that where you look at professional fees?
Professional services, like, other, legal counsel.
The non-departmental, okay.
Because unfortunately, I was double checking that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, by statute, we try to vote on this, by name, therefore I will call the roll, in alphabetical order. A vote of yes or a vote of no. Commissioner Ashby.
Yes.
Commissioner Ashby votes yes. Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones votes yes. Commissioner Matthews.
Yes.
Commissioner Matthews votes yes. Judge Miller votes yes. Commissioner Moore.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore votes yes. the FY 2020 budget with amendments posted as of 9/17 is approved. The next item on the agenda is vote on the tax rate for the 2019 property values. As previously stated, the proposed tax rate was at $54.53 per $100 evaluation, which is effectively a 4.2 increase in the tax rate. And that tax rate would be broken down as 0.51919 cents for the purpose of maintenance and operations, and 0.02611 cents per $100 for the purpose of principal and interest on the debts.
I'll make that motion, Judge, to approve the tax rate for 2019 property values as written. If I need to read that into the minutes again,
You would read that?
I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 0.5453 per $100 in valuation, which is effectively a 4.19% increase in the tax rate. The rate shall be broken down as following: 0.51919 per $100 for the purpose of maintenance and operations, 0.02611 for $100 for the purpose of principal and interest on debts.
We have a motion from Commissioner Moore, a second from Commissioner Matthews.
You got it?
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Let's have the motion carried. Okay, next item on the agenda is consider agreements between Coryell County and the volunteer fire departments of Flat, Gatesville, Jonesboro, Levada, Oglesby, Kernersville, Evant, and Coryell City Osage, and the Copperas Cove Fire Department. These are annual agreements, based off of the adopted and approved budget, for allocations of funds, to be distributed based off of the formula from the, County Fire Chiefs Association. Mr. Baden, do you have any comments?
No, the only comment I would give you that we, once a year, audit all the fire departments. We just completed that audit in early September. And for the first time, and since we started this, we had a 100% pass. So the only problem we're having right now is with down at the state in the training. The people we keep up our training with, they're having a little computer glitch now. It's went on for about 2 or 3 years, so. But locally, everything is good to go.
Thank you. Any rain in our future?
Yeah, it's gonna be here any day.
Okay, thank you, Billy. Gentleman in the sky.
Yeah, I don't wanna lie to you.
I needed
I'm
an
not a
audit.
weatherman yet.
Okay, well,
There were 9 of those individual agreements that, went out. Again, other than the amount, stipulated in the, by the fire chief's agreement, those numbers, they should have all been the same.
It is the Fire Chief Association, done been through all of these numbers and everything's good to go with that, all that.
Yeah, you talk about yes.
The amount of
Well,
these fire
let
departments.
me put it to you this way. We sent out an email after we did everything and told them, we gave them a couple of choices of which way you want to divide the money. The one that I gave them is the one that they agreed on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was the breakdown that we used for these figures.
Judge, I make a motion to approve the firefighting agreements, Coryell County Volunteer Fire Departments, Flat, Gatesville, Jonesboro, Levada, Oglesby, Turnerville, Event, Coryell City, Osage, and Copperas Cove Fire Department. Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Jones, second from Commissioner Matthews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The next item we have is consideration of the budget amendment for FY 19. It's been provided to you. That is the annual reconciliation of, the departmental line items, based off the recommendations from the county auditor.
Motion to approve the budget amendments as presented.
We have a motion from Commissioner Moore to approve the budget amendment.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Item number 16, consider the salary schedule to be effective October 1st, 2019. This is a revised schedule based off of budgetary guidance and input that we received from the Commissioners Court. Mr. Belton, did you get a satisfactory answer to your question? I got an answer.
Brent, did you have a question on that?
Well, I don't have a question about the law enforcement salaries. Those appear to be 2% base pay increase over what was ultimately decided on at some point last year. The only other thing I have a question about is why the executive assistant at the top of page 1 is different than the executive assistant pay at the bottom of page 2.
It's always been in the schedule.
In my discussions with, Mr. Roberts, we thought it would give some clarity, more transparency to put it there. However, we can adjust that if that's the choice of the court.
I was under the impression the reason we did the job descriptions and did the naming of the positions were to get them all in line with one another. It does not appear as if that is what we've done with that position for some reason. It's the reason I'm confused.
I agree, because, AgriLife executive assistant is been there 12 years.
So this would be the base pay, the starting pay for hiring somebody, so if.
Right.
If that person left, or if one of these other people left, we would be trying to hire somebody, that would be the starting pay. Which I went down that road about 2 years ago, much as the judge just went down that road here less than a year ago. And I think we can both agree that those amounts are not sufficient to hire somebody in one of those positions. Not somebody with any, that knows what they're doing, any experience or any. real capacity to do the job, hit the ground running. Which is what an executive assistant should be doing. Shouldn't be hiring an entry level position type person into that.
I concur.
How do we fix that?
We haven't done it in the past, and the reason that we were going to try to do this, I think, in the past, whoever was trying to hire somebody in one of those positions had to come to the court and request a exception or a change or a deviation, because it's wasn't doable to hire what was on the schedule. And because of the low number of the positions, it's not like it occurs very regularly. It may take you 2 years before one of those positions becomes open. From now.
Don't wanna take the job or something, just anybody request, or anybody. Go through, what you suggest.
However, the court chooses to address it, I just think it needs addressed, because if, you know, mine dies in a car wreck tomorrow, I'm not gonna be able to hire a new one at this rate.
That's right.
Or if she gets fed up with me and leaves tomorrow. Which could happen. It's already been a good Monday morning.
That happened again. We used to have them all under the departments. And when we created the schedules with Steph, we tried to include them, but really, in reality, that's a different job in every department. It's not
Right.
like, it's really hard to pigeonhole.
Right.
I agree with Brandon, that we're probably gonna just strike this bottom of this page and have a request for those by department.
By department, okay. Yeah. So you're saying strike you're suggesting striking the minimum?
Yeah, and just have, just like,
Just like it is up in the other one that's.
Right.
yeah,
Per budget request.
Right,
makes more sense.
like the whole, and everything.
Makes more sense to go
Yeah.
all the same way. You know, give your department a little more freedom about that. People that fit in that category, but there's only about three or four.
What do you have this doing? And you're the one that's doing this.
Yeah.
We can just approve with those corrections.
Sure. That's what I'm trying to.
You got to go so far as say I got to.
instead of them having an actual budgeted number, they will just say, per budget request.
Okay, we've got a motion from Commissioner Moore, to accept the schedule, with the correction to the executive assistants being per budget request. And a second from,
Corrected copy.
Yeah, you referencing the
yes, ma'am. Motion from Commissioner Moore and a second from Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion?
Judge, can I ask a question? Is that the same schedule that has, my department sheets behind it? But does it still highlight my office manager as particularly a road and bridge office employee separately? Because that was one of the budget's requests that I had, was to change her to an office manager. So we approved this schedule, and she's, you know, my position is still in there as, this is strictly the road and bridge position. Is that then gonna limit me to moving her October 1 to an office manager?
I think we did.
Yeah, I think it is.
That was one of your
I
requests.
think it was, very request. I'll double check it.
But I was just wondering if that schedule y'all approving has just,
I have, but it has both categories, so she just fits in another one.
okay.
I mean, I couldn't tell you, I mean, just off the top of my head, but I thought that's what we've done, so.
Judge, I got a question.
I'm sorry, I just have one request. If possible, can everybody speak up a little bit? I know I'm having a hard time hearing what's being said up here. I'm working on getting everybody microphones for in here, but until they come in, everybody could just speak up a little bit, please. That way we can hear what's being said.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, does that mean that everybody's gonna get a 3.5, or what's going on with the salaries? We don't understand what all y'all are saying.
The salary schedule is the base schedule that we hire in. Okay, within the budget, there was a 3.5% increase for all employees, and that applies to their current pay. This particular salary schedule applies a 2% to what was already the base of our salary structure. So there were two components of it. Am I explaining that correctly?
We still don't understand.
No.
Mr. Roberts, could you help us with that, sir? Come on, Mr. Roberts.
Well, what they're talking about right now is what people are hired at, not what
Okay.
people are making that work for us already.
Okay,
So we're raising the base, by 2%, which is the cost of living this year,
okay.
so that, you know, our department head will have a little better chance to hire somebody, because
Yes,
things will be elevated a little bit.
Okay, I
Doesn't
think
have,
it's good.
doesn't have anything to do with what people are making in their paycheck.
Okay.
Unless they start today.
Unless they start.
Unless they start.
Right, if they start today.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts.
Yeah, this goes in effect
That was better.
Correct. Yeah, I think it
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Judge, what about Justin's question?
we did that. He was asking if we
Yeah.
did, and we did.
It is.
Yeah, my only concern was it was just, here's the road and bridge. The old one used to just have here, which was like 21,000, what I could hire somebody to come in at for the NDP.
Right.
That was 22, I think, or 21 was the base on it, but it was specifically for road and bridge, like Bagger Life was for Bagger Life.
You're really, we're in these other categories now.
Sorry. I don't see it.
Very good. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries, with the approved salary schedule with the corrections of the per budget request and the executive assistants. Okay. Item number 17, designated day of the week in which the Commissioners Court shall convene in regular term for the next fiscal year. That's in accordance with Texas Local Government Code 81.005A. Historically, I believe we have met on the second and fourth Mondays of the month.
Anybody have a reason to change that?
Motion to continue that, the second and the fourth Monday of each month.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Matthews for the second and fourth Monday of each month. A second by Commissioner Ashby. Any further discussion?
Maybe, I think with the things coming up throughout this next fiscal year, that we may wanna consider some more workshops during the week.
Sure.
Prior to that meeting, where we can have a little bit of discussion, maybe be a little more prepared for the following.
Sure.
meeting. Not consistent, just as needed.
And the workshops in the previous week.
Just got a lot of things coming up.
Yeah.
You know, they're gonna take, to keep things moving a little.
My time would be the same, 9 o'clock. I mean, I'm fine with that, I just didn't know what I needed to do.
That's a good
I'll
point.
put that in there too, 9 o'clock.
Nine o'clock on.
It's already there.
It was already there?
Yeah.
Yep, it was already there.
Sorry.
Sorry. I just wanna make
Ms.
sure.
Simpson heard.
Good.
That's all right.
See you.
I'm kinda like that man out there, sometimes I can't hear it. But anyway,
I'm working on getting everybody here microphone, so everybody
what
can,
about some hearing aids?
well, I tried getting mine, but I forgot my batteries, so.
I think I got some in the truck.
I'll get you up.
Okay, any further discussion on item number 17? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Item number 18, consider setting fees to be charged for services by the offices of the sheriff and constables. Mrs. Simpson, I believe, had sent over a copy of what is currently listed for the fee schedule.
I think the sheriff, sent that to me, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's already been sent to the state, so all you guys have to do is clear it, it's a little behind.
We're behind.
So I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Got a motion from Commissioner Ashby, a second from Commissioner Matthews. Any further discussion on setting the fee schedule? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Ayes have, the motion carries. Mr. Latham, I know we have thrown you off, and I apologize, but I appreciate your patience. Road and Bridge report.
Well, Judge, it's second meeting of the month, this is kind of an update. October first meeting, just kind of an update, we spent about $30-something thousand on the road, working on the edges and hot mix. Finished up paving Hay Valley, started Slater Road, that process, we've got a crew out there working now, full time. Been working on low water crossing at B House out there on 154 West, we have the head walls poured, 10 horns installed. They're backfilling the field underneath it and hoping to get the cap put on before Thursday or Friday. Certainly any rain chances there. Next meeting we have, one in October, give our annual report, everything we've done this year, to file for 2019 budget. Other than that, Judge, just mowing, starting to do more maintenance type work, and finished up a lot of our paving projects.
convenient for you and superintendent, and I can be there at any time, so.
Just, basically get an interlocal agreement.
Yes, sir.
To work in their parking lot.
Yes, sir.
Anything else, Mr. Lake? Okay, thank you. Item number 20 is Mr. Coble here. Okay.
Let's leave that open, Judge, he may show up later.
Okay, we'll come back to item number 20. All right, item number 21, consider acquisition of right-of-way relocated section of Camp Branch Road.
Did you give them any of these? What's that, Ron?
Did you give them any of these?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I could just make 3 copies there.
I did print out the picture drawing that you'd given me
Okay.
previously. I printed out, and gave them a copy of that this morning. That's the, picture to, graphically, did you get it?
Yes, sir, yes.
Graphically show you what that, little bypass, this right-of-way acquisition, and what that bypass would end up looking like.
So, speaking with the landowner, he's gonna give us the right of way.
Yep.
We just have to put the fences back up on the one side of the right of way there. By doing that, it alleviates us from having to maintenance the low water crossing that's failing. I mean, it's essentially, we're routing around the creek and coming out on the FM. We'll use the FM bridge, we're crossing the creek, we'll never have to go across it again. For me, I feel like it's a win-win, cause we're gonna have to a detour to rebuild that low water crossing if we was to do it. Be $150,000-$200,000 probably by the time we're done, and building the detour. This here, the roadbed's already established, all we gotta do is push the trees out of it. In the agreement, there was a little bit, some outland the landowner will have then. He's gonna allow us to stage equipment and stuff there, kinda as far as compensation for giving us the right of way. There's about 1.5 acres there we're gonna clear and put the fences back up on the right of way. Be 2 10 horns installed and about 900 feet of road base levy. Spoke with TxDOT, they approved the entrance location already where we come out at up there. Where TxDOT's wanting us to come out, we deviate off of the old road bed that was there, maybe 100 and something feet, but 900 foot of road, 2 10 horns and some fence, we could have that up and going in a month, easy, 2 weeks probably, but.
And then abandon the other?
That would be my suggestion, that we abandon the other section. It doesn't cut anybody off from accessing their property. Everybody's still either now they just come in on the new section of the road or they access off the FM. There's no driveways in that section. There's one landowner there that owns both sides of that Camp Branch. If you're looking at that map, he has a entrance off of the section where the new road and the old road will be merging. But his property, his fence follows a portion of that through there, so if we have to install him a 10 horn to access the other side of his property, there's no issue there.
We'll just not maintain it or abandon it, as in give it back to will it be reverted back to the contiguous
We
landowner?
discontinue maintenance, or we can abandon it.
We abandon it, it'll title will revert back 1/2 each side of the roadway, or somebody on both sides of
Will
the
they have
opposite.
it posted legally for abandonment, give it back to the landowner, how does it?
We will have to post it, yes, to close that existing portion of the roadway, once we decide what we want to do.
We still have to go through the petition process.
Yes, sir.
But that can be done at a later time.
Yes, sir.
Versus what we're talking about.
Yeah, I would rather go ahead and get this acquired, get it built,
Yeah.
then abandon another section. My thoughts would be to go pull the low water crossing out of the channel. It's there, it's crumbling and there's pieces of it are going every time it rains, so. If we do abandon it, just pull the thing out.
I make a motion to acquire the right of way, relocate that section of Camp Ayers Road.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Matthews, a second from Commissioner Ashby. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries to approve acquisition of right of way. Okay, item number 22, consider transfer of a vehicle from the sheriff's office to the road and bridge department. I'm not sure if, this letter went out in your packet or not. It was, okay. It is a Ford F-150, 2011 F-150 pickup, VIN number 1FTF W1CF3 BKD 41608. Is that the right number, did you?
That is correct, 17D.
17,
You bet.
okay,
I checked it already.
all right. And that would transfer from the sheriff's department to the road and bridge.
I make that motion, Judge.
Second.
Got a motion from Commissioner Ashby, second from Commissioner Matthews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Let's have it, motion carries. All right.
Judge, could you repeat that VIN number? I got it here on my phone, give me the last
One
four.
FTFW1CF3BKD 41608.
Okay. Anybody else? Just making sure I've got, make sure it's right. Nancy, get on to me if it's not.
All right,
I'll just check.
been checked and rechecked. Okay, all right, and if you'll just, when Mr. Gable gets here, just someone throw up a hand. Okay, item number 23, consider contract for postage machine for the tax assessor collector's office. I believe his, lease agreement, is up, and, this is a renewal, or not a renewal, this is a new, you change the company that you're wanting to go with.
Yeah, it's the, same company used by the other machines we have in the county.
Okay.
And it's actually for my building, it's not just my office,
Right.
the whole building uses it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
And
in
people across the street.
Well,
Brandon uses it,
I was just saying, yeah, it's not just, I'll probably phrase that,
it is in my office.
Mr. Carruthers is nice enough to sponsor the location that is used throughout the county for multiple departments. So this is not specifically his, he is just, he's the foster parent of the postage machine.
I make a motion to approve the contract for the postage machine for the tax office, our tax assessor and the collector's office, and Mr. Belt and the rest of that office to use.
We got a motion from Commissioner Matthews, a second from Commissioner Moore. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Item number 24 on the agenda is, consider nomination of representative for Coryell County to the Coryell Central Appraisal District Board of Directors. We are currently fortunate enough to have, Mr. Carruthers as our representative, and, not only is he our representative, he is the chairman of the, Board of Directors for the Central Appraisal District. In speaking with him, I believe he would, in fact, accept a nomination to continue to serve in that capacity.
Make that motion.
We have a motion from Commissioner Matthews, to nominate, Mr. Justin Carruthers to the Central Appraisal District Board of Directors, and a second from Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next item, number 25, and we will, accept,
That one.
public comment on this, cause I know we've kind of been talking, so if, anyone that wants to, comment again from previous comments, they're certainly welcome to. Consider selection of new election equipment. As many of you may know, our current election equipment is at the end of its life cycle. Under the, advice of, or recommendation, from our, election chairman, that, we continue to use the same company, but we need to update our equipment. So we've had two, hands-on displays, of both an electronic version as well as an electronic / paper version, which they call the, hybrid duo system. But they're both with, Hart, Interactive. Both of these systems, have been, certified by the federal and state government for elections. And we're gonna decide on which of those that we would like to utilize at this point. Mr. Crowe, do you have any comments?
Yeah, so you should have two contracts there. I don't know if you can tell from the front page, but one of those is for the touch system, one is for the duo system. After page 12, you'll see the quote,
At the very top. Page, yeah.
so at the very top I penciled in, it either says touch or duo. So I'm looking at touch, and that at the bottom of the page, grand total $784,362. On the duo system, which is the paper-based system, that is $697. So about $87,000 is the difference. Like the judge said, both systems, are accredited with the Voting System Laboratory, certified by the, Federal U.S. Election Commission, passed the Secretary of State's, Texas Secretary of State's, independent testing and certification process. And neither system has failed a test at the federal or state level. So those are the two options there. I don't know if you have any questions of me about those or.
Even though we went through the training, the display, the, whatever you're gonna call it, I guess we didn't get trained, demonstration, there you go. I understand the digital system is secure, it's not hooked to the internet. And it records virtually 3 different ways if something were to fail. My biggest fear is the state or the federal government is then gonna come in and say, hey, we gotta have a paper copy. Are we able to make and verify from the original or the touch a paper copy? Or, and I guess, it's hard to explain, I guess,
So, yeah,
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're able to produce a document for them saying, these are the votes that were cast.
correct. So, as with our current system
Yes.
and with the touch system, if that was the way we went, we can produce a single piece of paper for each vote that was cast. We call it a cast vote record.
Yes.
And it would look similar to what the dual system is. So each vote that we have 10,000 votes, we print 10,000 pieces of paper, with each vote 1 per paper. The only time we would do that would be if there was a manual hand count required, currently or with the new touch system. So I think the answer is yes.
Yes, okay. I think that's folks' concern. I know that, I don't know, my biggest fear is the state's gonna come back, or the federal government's gonna come back and say, you have to have a paper ballot.
Right, and I think that's a possibility, I can't predict that.
Yeah.
If you go with touch, and that was a requirement, then it's built in such a way that it can be, changed. If you saw the equipment,
Yes.
they look the same, except that the dual system has a printer built in, and the touch system just has a flat surface. And they made those that way on purpose, so they could be modified either way. So that could be done. Of course, that will cost money. And they said, you know, at the time, that would be anywhere from $500,000 to $1,000 per piece of equipment, if we did convert. So, I mean, that is a possibility.
And it's estimated in our county, if we go paper, which is actually a cheaper version of the voting equipment, it would take about 10 years to catch up to the digital
Right.
system.
Yeah,
Cost wise,
Yeah, I think over the life cycle, you know, they would be roughly the same. Just because we would have, 120 pieces of equipment basically with a printer inside them.
yes, sir.
Now, the first 5 years, we probably have no trouble with that system, but those things are gonna wear out, so those are gonna have to be replaced. So over the cycle, I'd say it would wash out or be close anyway. I couldn't guarantee that. Maybe it'll never break, but as we know, those things, tend to break.
So why does it, if the touch system can be converted, not converted, if you can turn that into paper that day, why would there even be a need to convert it? Is it a requirement that
Well,
would have to be done?
I mean, I'm talking about if the legislation that would pass, like the informant was this last session, the duo system, you would have to have the paper at the polling place. So that wouldn't, the touch system would not.
Comply with that.
Now, that's on, the bill that they had that didn't pass, and they could do anything. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
But based on that bill, the touch system would have to be converted to the duo system. If that, same type bill passed next time or whenever, that would be the case.
Got the gentleman behind you, has a question.
No, I just wanted to comment if you have an opportunity.
Yes, sir.
Want me to do that now?
Yes, sir, you're fine.
My name is Tim Orway. I live over on Moxon Bend Road, precinct 4. I went to the, one of the demonstrations and I was very impressed with it. The one thing the way I look at these difference of these two systems is the dual system, in addition to being less expensive, has voter verification at the site. So that when you vote electronically, you get a printout, shows your vote, you verify that, you scan it, and that vote that you verified is stored in the system electronically. You do it on the other system, you store your vote electronically, and I don't know if anybody else has ever had computer equipment that's never failed, but I've never had that situation. If the data that's in the system, electronic data that's in the system, is destroyed or modified in any way, act of God, power surge, deliberate distortion, whatever, then what you print out, when you need a printout of it, is whatever that ended up being. You don't have a verified vote that the voter saw that goes in, that drops into a box, in a lockbox that you keep for 22 months. It seems to me that with $87,000 difference at, they said that you'd have to buy paper for the ballot. Well, that's 30-something thousand ballots per year, and we don't cast that many ballots per year, so it's gonna be It's kind of stretching it to think that we would end up breaking even. I think it's gonna be a cheaper system. It just seems to me the voter verification for peace of mind would be better, it's cheaper.
Mr. Whittle?
Sure. My name is Gene Whittle. I serve as the county chair for the Democratic Party in this county. But this is not a partisan issue. I don't see any partisan level ideas here. This is a strictly a voter issue. Every voter should be interested and be concerned that their vote is safe, secure, and accurate. In the 8 or so years I've served as county chair, I've been to many meetings, statewide, regional, and lately, the issue of election security invariably comes up. Sometimes there's an expert on hand that can give us advice, and we're told that elections are handled in three areas. One is the actual machine where the votes are input. Second is the storage medium for those votes, the backup. And the third is the voter database itself. And I feel like these two machines, we're considering that initial part, the voting machines themselves, are quite secure. They're never connected to the internet, they're never connected to a phone line. And I feel they're probably as secure as can be made. The voter database is pretty well out of Justin's hands as far as security issues. He can speak to the state software that he uses to maintain the voter database. And then the issue of the storage of the result is where the real issue lies, I believe. And it comes down to, do you want your vote stored on using invisible electrons on a device, something like this? Or should the backup be a piece of paper that has been in the voter's hands? The voter has examined it and told the election worker, yes, this is the way I want to vote. And then those are stored away, as Tim mentioned, 22 months. And the people from HART assure us that even though it's thermal paper, the legibility is certified for at least 22 months. And at these meetings I attend, I get the idea that we could easily have, here in Coryell County, we could easily have the best election staff in the state. Because at every meeting I hear horror stories from other counties about the ineptness of their county election people, the indifference they run into. We do not have any of that here in Coryell.
No, I agree.
Our election people are on top of things. And I trust Justin, I trust Bill, Peter, anyone else who handles these elections. Very seldom have we had a problem. Most recently, I'll tell you, in the 18 general election, several days into the early voting period, a problem was found on the printed ballots that are used for mail voting. And several hundred people had used these ballots, but Justin made the correct decision and called the ballot board together, and they manually went through all of the ballots and made corrections, and all parties involved, the candidates, the voters, were happy with the result. They had confidence that the corrections had been made. If that problem had appeared in the electronic ballots, I'm not so sure. Maybe there's a fix, Justin can speak to that, but, I don't think that, the candidates or the voters would have had the level of confidence that, got generated by the manual work the ballot board did. It took them about 3 hours one afternoon, and Justin was very nice to let me, observe the whole process, and, as I said, it comes down to invisible electrons, a piece of paper that the voter has examined, been in the voter's hands, and is securely stored away. Now, I freely admit that the dual system using the paper is going to be extra work for the election staff. I'm sorry about that, but, easy is not a criteria when it comes to a secure election. If easy was a criteria, we would never drive with seatbelts or play football wearing a helmet. Other things become more important. The, vote you'll take in a minute, if you're happy with invisible electrons, that's fine. I believe if you want to have the most secure possible elections, you will vote for the dual system using the paper backup. A little more work, but I think anyone would agree it's worth it. A lot of people in this room will see their names on ballots in the next few months. And if there is a problem, hopefully not, but if there is, if your race was in an audit, which one would you trust? Thank you for letting me speak.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Wood.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Candace Griever. As a young voter, time is money to me, so I wanna know what is gonna be faster for us to get in and get out to do our voting, because time's money. So which one is gonna be faster for the user?
Well, I mean, the electronic system's probably faster. There's one less step. Starting out, you know, once we make the switch, it's gonna be
There's gonna be a learning curve, yeah.
Yeah, but generally speaking, yeah, the electronic would be
Okay.
faster. There's one less step that you go through.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Mr. Will, I agree with you, I don't believe this is really a partisan, discussion that we're having, but I wanna make sure that, I have some, I like both of the systems, I have faith in both of them, I trust that they're both accurate. From one of the recent conferences I attended, that there will be some future legislation on the auditable paper trail, in some form. It's gonna come back in some form. I think there was the last one, there was a lot of other things tied to that legislation that didn't allow it to pass. So I don't know, Mr. Kafer, do you have maybe some insight from the legislation on what?
Crystal ball on that's a little cloudy.
I'm sorry?
Crystal ball on that is a little cloudy.
I would, I don't know, this is a big decision. It's not a partisan decision, but it's an expensive decision that we're making. It's a big investment. I don't wanna see us spend money on something now, and then in a year, we have to spend more money on it to change it
Right,
in 2 years.
yeah, because
or 5 years.
if they come in and don't put any money in that pot to make that conversion, then it's gonna be another.
There won't be no money in the pot for us. We're gonna have so much to do. I'd like to see a deal system with the paper trail. I don't know why they ever got rid of paper to start with.
Yes, sir.
I just want to make the comment, we've seen throughout the country, places where votes have been changed digitally and whatnot. So I 100% agree that we should have a paper backup, and that way they can verify that, okay, yes, I voted for so-and-so, so-and-so, make sure all the votes are correct, and then process that through. Because if you just do digital, you hit send, and if it had changed after you hit send, you have no way to go back and verify that. So I think the paper, the dual system would probably be the best way to go. Just, if nothing else, to put the voters' mind at ease. Because you do see that stuff, I think, in Florida and other places in Texas, where the votes were changed after they hit send.
Well, so that's
It is.
not a true statement.
That's a little different system. That was
Oh, okay, yeah, well.
Old technology, and, it's a punch card, and it was different, but,
I would say
it is.
either way, the citizens will be better served than they are now, so. But security and peace of mind are two different things, so I'm 100% confident that either system is 100% secure. It's been tested by the state, the federal government, the independent, voting system laboratory. It's neither have ever failed a test, state or federal, so either way you go, you're gonna have security, tested security.
The unknown is the only thing that I fear, what may come up in 5 years. It may not be next session, but there has been polls taken that I think it's 83% of the voting public, wants a paper trail. I think that's what's pushing some of this legislation. And I know you have an opinion about, Justin, which equipment you would prefer and what's more, I guess, an easier transition for the voters, because it's more like the equipment that we use now, which is the total electronic or the touch system.
Right.
I'm really torn at what to do, honestly.
Yeah, I don't wanna put my personal opinion in it.
Mr. Carruthers, could you hold that for just 1 second? Yes, ma'am?
I say err on the side of the legislation being tightened, because I think that's what's gonna happen. Especially if Republicans win, they're gonna want a tighter system. So if they don't, they're still gonna want a tighter system. So if you're gonna spend the money, I would err on the legislation being changed to tighten it up. So that's just my thoughts.
I'm sorry, Mr. Carruthers, please go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I don't wanna put my personal opinion in. Like I said, I'm 100% confident in both systems. The citizens of Coryell County will be better served with either system than what we have now. There will be more of a learning curve if we go with the dual system, but we'll make it work. It's just, after a few elections, it'll be old hat, so.
Well, I think there are 3 key areas to focus in on, and one is the security of the equipment, and as Mr. Carruthers has said, I don't think with either one of these, the security of the systems is in question. Then it gets into the confidence of the voters, of what vote has been cast. And then the last piece that I would say is the convenience to the voters. And there are certain confidences that you gain with the paper at the loss of convenience. There are certain conveniences you gain with the touch system at the loss of paper confidence. Again, it's kind of a toss-up. We gain a convenience with our mobility challenged voters, that we can just take part of the machine out there and have them vote directly on that machine with one system, that we don't have that with the other. Now, how often that happens, I don't know, but that is serving a piece of our voting public.